So I'm going to wait and give you the homework tomorrow. Today I just want you to watch the two videos from last week. You might want to watch them again. You might want to watch some previous videos to get ready for the test. Anything on radicals and then imaginary, what we've covered. And watch the two videos I made for this week. So do the problems in the video. But other than that, no new problems tonight. Now watch the videos after I tell you to go watch the videos. Don't let it go, because then you forget and then you're getting behind. Because this stuff is getting more challenging all the time. So powers of imaginaries. So we know that I is the square root of -1. Now, you never write square root of -1 anymore in the answer. It's always I. We know that I squared is -1. You do switch that. So I cubed would be I squared times I, because when you multiply two things same base, you add. 2 plus 1 is 3. But we know that I squared is -1, so it'd be -1 times I is -I. Then I to the fourth would be I squared times I squared, which would be -1 times -1, which is 1. So that's all you need to know to find any power. You have I is I. You have I squared is -1. You have I cubed is -I. And you have I to the fourth is 1. You need to memorize those four. Now, of course, I won't test you till next week on those, because we're doing it this week. So I don't test you on the same week. But, so if I said any power bigger than 4, I would just break it up into I to the fourth and whatever's left over, because I to the fourth is 1. So if I said what's I to the 7th, you'd say, okay, I'm going to break that up to get my I to the fourth. So it's I to the fourth times I to the third, because when you multiply two things same base, you add. 4 plus 3 is 7. So I to the fourth is 1. Times I cubed is -I. So your answer should never have a power bigger than 1 on your I. So if I said, okay, what's I to the 18th? Well, then what I want to do is break this up into I to the fourth. So if the power is divisible by 4, I can break it up into I to the fourth, which is 1. So I'm going to break this up into I to the 16th, I squared. Why I to the 16th? Because that would be I to the fourth raised to the fourth. Because when you have a base raised to a power, raise it all to another power, you multiply. 4 times 4 is 16 times I squared. I to the fourth is 1. 1 to the fourth power is 1. So anytime the power is divisible by 4 on your I, it turns into a 1. So you'd have 1 times I squared, but wait a minute, I squared is -1. So my answer is -1. So if I said what's I to the 43rd, first you break it up so that the power is divisible by 4, so then you have an I to the fourth, which is 1. So I'd break it up I to the 40th, I cubed. Now this next step you don't need to show anymore, but you'd have I to the fourth to the 10th. Because a base to a power, all to another power, you multiply 4 times 10 is 40. So I to the fourth is 1, 1 to the 10th is 1, times I cubed is the same as -I. Need to memorize those. So the answer is -I. Woohoo! So if I said what's I to the 25th, really you just start off by saying what number, 25 or below 25, is divisible by 4. So is 25? No. Is 24? Yes. So I break it up I to the 24th. I. Now again, you don't need this show this step, but it'd be I to the 4th to the 6th. I to the 4th is 1. 1 to the 6th is 1. 1 times I is I. I. So what if I try this problem on your lonesome right now? What is 2i all cubed? Do it right now. Would be 8i cubed. But wait a minute, we know I cubed is negative I. So this would be 8 times negative I. Now notice it's in parentheses. We're multiplying, so it's negative 8i. So if I said, okay, what's I to the 82nd? You'd say, well, can I write 82 in terms of a power 4 or break up an I so I can do that? Well, sure, it'd be I to the 80th, I squared. So I to the 80 is divisible by 4, so therefore it's I to the 4th to another power, which is 1, and I squared is negative 1. So the answer is negative 1. So you should never have a power bigger than 1 on your I. So try these two for me. 3i to the 4th and I to the 103. See if you can figure those two out for me, please, and then turn me back on. Okay, 3 to the 4th is 81. I to the 4th, but we know I to the 4th is 1. So 81 times 1 is 81. I to the 103, okay, that would be I to the what number? 103 or below is divisible by 4, well, that's 100. So I to the 100 is 1, because technically you go I to the 4th to the 25th. And I to the 4th is 1. 1 to the 25th is 1. I cubed is negative I. 1 times negative I is negative I. Try just a couple more here. I to the 30th and I to the 123. Do those two for me and then turn me back on. Okay, again, 30 is not divisible by 4, so you go I to the 28th. I squared. I to the 28th is 1 because it's I to the 4th to the 7th. I squared is negative 1. I to the 123 would be I to the 120. I cubed. So that'd be 1 times I cubed is negative I. Ooh. So again, no homework tonight. Just watch the videos, review for me. Then, of course, tomorrow we'll be doing solving with radicals. Then we'll do fractional exponents on Thursday. And then I think we're going to complete this square on Friday. Oh my goodness, how exciting. So we'll see how it goes. Hey, have a good day. Bye-bye.